11 discoveries of the most amazing finds that scare scientists. Hey guys, welcome to exciting archaeological news. In the world of science, some discoveries excite and inspire, and then some terrify and confound. Specific finds have left even the most seasoned scientists in disbelief, from strange creatures to bizarre phenomena. This video will take a look at the most amazing and terrifying finds that have scared scientists. From ancient tombs to deep-sea creatures, we will explore the natural world's mysteries and examine the incredible discoveries that have left experts in wonder. This video is going to be very interesting and leaving you both amazed and terrified by the incredible finds. If you're new here, click the subscribe button and then the bell icon to get an instant notification of new videos. Let's start the video. 11. Tomb KV5. Tomb KV5 is a subterranean rock-cut tomb in the Royal Canyon Valley of the Kings, Egypt. It is rim sickness, the second son. Nevertheless, KV5 was partly dug as early as 1825. In 1995, Kent and his excavation crew revealed its whole breadth. The greatest tomb in the Canyon of the Royals, currently designated as KV5, was robbed in prehistory. Also, while waiting outside the valley's gateway, it suffered the same fate as the other low-lying tombs, which were to be covered by material washed down in thunderstorm-related flash floods that occurred across the valley. The tomb was studied multiple times after the valley's excavation began, relatively recently. First in 1825 by James Burton, and then in 1902 by Howard Carter. The creator of the tomb of Tutankhamun used KV5 only as a dumping spot. They could only get into the first few chambers. As a result, they failed to detect anything unusual about the tomb. According to discoveries, the tomb is far larger than previously thought, revealing additional passageways and chambers that branch out from the tombs. As of 2006, at least 130 rooms had been discovered in once-discovered locations. Around 7% of the containers had been empty, and work was still being done to open the rest of the tomb. Most of Ramses II's male and female offspring, particularly those who died during his lifetime, were deposited in this tomb. This was similar to the tomb KV7. Among other artifacts, Amun's big skull fragments were recovered and reconstructed. 10. Secret Mummy Cave. The Secret Mummy Cave, also known as the Royal Cache and recognized as TT320, formerly DB320, is an Egyptian tomb in the Ban necropolis near Deir el-Bahari and across from the modern city of Luxor. During the 21st century empire, it serves as a repository for imperial mummies. As a result, it includes an extraordinary collection of mummified bones and burial furnishings of more than 50 monarchs, queens, and other royal household members from the new empire. Among the 11 emperors unearthed is one of the 9 emperors from the 17th dynasty, 5 of the 15 emperors from the 18th dynasty, 3 of the 8 emperors from the 19th empire, and 2 of the 10 emperors from the 20th dynasty. Historically, the top priest of Amun Punjab II, his spouse Jessica Hans, and other close relatives were buried in the tomb. It made a stir when locals first discovered it in 1871 and an Egyptologist in 1881. The mummies swiftly surged to the top of the new Egyptian gallery's attractions. The mummies were transported to a contemporary display space in the new National Museum of Egyptian History. 9. Bhangarh Fort. Alwar, Rajasthan, rated as the most scared place in India. Bhangarh Fort is on its way to Alwar and Jaipur in Rajasthan, India. The town was founded in 1573 during the reign of Bhagwant Das. Bhangarh's population declined, and the town has been abandoned since the 1783 famine. A makeshift dwelling is rarely found on the fort's outskirts. The village households here do not have roofs because there is a widespread belief and experience that it collapses when a roof is erected on the house. Between dusk and morning, it is illegal to enter Bhangarh. The guidelines are specified on a signboard maintained by the Archaeological Survey of India, a Government of India entity. While the board is written in Hindi, its instructions roughly translate to entering the limits of Bhangarh before sunrise and after dusk is severely prohibited. Anybody who fails to follow these guidelines will face legal consequences. Be cautious before venturing into India's ghost town. 8. Emperor for 27 days. Leo Her is the Han Dynasty ruler with the most negative reputation. He was deposed after only 27 days for violating mourning rules and being incompetent. He fled into exile in the provinces, and 10 years later was bestowed the title of the Count of Hugun. He will be remembered as an erratic spendthrift. The research is confirmed. Following reports of looters discovering a tomb, the authorities of Jiangxi province acted quickly and dispatched an archaeology commission. They discovered a vast field of Han Dynasty mistake tombs, covering 3,700 square meters. Despite the plundering, the researchers were astounded when they uncovered one of the burial chambers. They were in front of the 27-day emperor's tomb, Liu He. Inside the tomb was a priceless treasure. Aside from 2 million bronze coins totaling 10 tons, around 20,000 gold, copper, jade, and amber jewelry items were discovered by archaeologists. In addition, 20 horses were lavishly buried. The most significant discovery, however, was the oldest copy of Confucius's works. 7. Valley of the Golden Mummies. Late last year, archaeologists in Egypt discovered the bones of 20 ancient humans. Family members of several of the deceased had been interred together. The Valley of the Golden Mummies is the name of the location where the 20 mummies were discovered in the valley. Countless numbers of human remains are interred. According to its discoveries, the region contains some of the most significant archaeological discoveries since King Tutankhamun. Scientists use technology in the Valley of the Golden Mummies and other places. They utilize X-ray technology to examine bones and radar to locate burial sites. Experts are also conducting experiments on the artifacts discovered alongside the mummies. 6. The Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid of Giza is Egypt's biggest pyramid, and it houses the tomb of Khufu from the 4th dynasty. The pyramid, the earliest of the 7 wonders of the ancient cosmos, was constructed in the initial 26th century BC, over around 27 years. It is the only one that has mostly survived. It is a part of the Giza Pyramid complex and surrounds the contemporary Giza in Greater Cairo, Egypt. An estimated 2.3 million large parts, totaling 6 million metric tons, were mined to construct the Great Pyramid. Most rocks of varying sizes and shapes, with relatively little dressing concrete attached to the outer layers. The Giza Plateau's local marble mainly was used. Additional building materials such as stone slabs from Aswan that could weigh up to 80 tons and white marble from Turu were delivered down the Nile by barge. The Great Pyramid features 3 recognized rooms for framing. The pyramid's face has been carved further deeper into the foundation, yet the pyramidical building is the so-called Queen's and King's chambers, each of which shelters a granite tomb, was completed. Some believe Hamarinu, also known as Hyman Khufu's vizier, was in charge of designing the Great Pyramid. Numerous diverse scientific and non-scientific hypotheses strive to define the precise building procedures. Was in charge of designing the Great Pyramid. Numerous diverse scientific and non-scientific hypotheses strive to define precise building procedures. Number 5. Lemozida Molash. The Lemozida Molash Museum in Paris, France, is the creepiest place in the world. It is a truly frightening collection of dermatological models. Many resemble severed body pieces or entire bodies. Since 1867, the museum has been open. Yet, it only had paintings, drawings, and photographs of skin ailments at the time. Everything changed once the museum hired a wax fruit model whose history is only known by Beretta for the following 40 years. Beretta created around 3,500 wax models of sick skin and individuals. People who love the museum believe it is the best and most unique convergence of art and science in the world, while those who despise it say it's the worst. It appears to be something from a freak show. It's not for us to identify which of the categories it belongs to, but we'll say that you will have only heard of plenty of ailments once you see their effects in the museum. And when you do, you'll wish you had never had a human body, which is odd, and some of its cruelest pranks are captured on wax here. 4. Whales on land. In Egypt, researchers claim to have uncovered a fossilized whale ancestor 43 million years old. The fossil data shows how early whales moved from land to sea. A research team led by Egyptians made the discovery. The freshly discovered whale is a member of the Protocididae family. These prehistoric whale ancestors may have lived on land and in the sea. The new species is known as Cetus andibus. According to the researchers, its length and weight were believed to be 3 meters and 600 kilograms, respectively, and it consumed other creatures. It is the earliest known ancestor of African whales. 3. The Nazca lines in Peru. The Nazca lines in Peru are the most famous petroglyphs in the world, but we need to discover more about who produced them. One of the few things we know is that the folks also had a morbid practice of collecting human skulls and storing them as trophies. It had long been assumed that the trophy heads were removed from combatants. Nevertheless, a 2009 study at the Field Museum in Chicago, USA, demolished that idea by analyzing trophy skull specimens. Scientists verified that the heads belonged to people with the same location and culture as the individuals who collected them, rather than the battle trophies. The skulls may have been retained as a part of a practice tied to ancestor worship between 1500 and 2000 years ago. The heads were worn as ornaments for whatever reason, possibly during rites or celebrations. The skulls of the heads have been punctured to allow the passage of a woven cord. The skulls of the heads have been punctured to allow for the passage of a woven cord through them for this purpose. The treatment method performed by the ancient people was so effective at preserving the heads that several of them still have all their hair after all this time. 2. The tomb of the silver pharaoh. The tomb of the pharaoh Sustanus, the first who reigned the 21st dynasty from 1036 to 989 BCE, is certainly one of Egypt's greatest underrated archaeological discoveries. Ancient Egyptian monarchs and emperors ringed themselves with treasures, most of which were made of gold. They believed that the presence of riches would ensure that pharaoh would receive the gift of eternal life, rather than doing so out of greed. In ancient Egypt, silver symbolized the moon. The discovery of a silver tomb in the imperial tomb of Sustanus was first shocking, since silver was considered less frequent than gold, even though finding conditions could not have been worse. A French scientist named Pierre Monet, who lived from 1885 to 1966, a French scientist named Pierre Monet, 1855 to 1966, who carried out thorough investigations of the nascent empire, 1567 to 525 BCE, artifacts at the old town of Tennis and the Nile Delta, uncovered the tomb of Sustanus, the first wife, and his wife, Mujiname. 1. The Alexandrian Library. This is one of the most famous ancient Egyptian structures, yet we have never seen it. What distinguishes a library? The Library of Alexandria, constructed in the 4th century BC, was one of the most important reservoirs of information in the ancient world. We would know a lot more about the ancient Egyptians and other civilizations if we had access to the many volumes and scrolls contained inside the library. The Library of Alexandria had a wealth of knowledge that may disclose incredible details about the ancient world, yet it was destroyed and vanished. Many archaeologists and historians nowadays can only fantasize about the library's contents. Its rise and fall are intricate and sometimes as dramatic as a film. Consider yourself the librarian of the Library of Alexandria, where you had to keep track of thousands of books without the modern-day system. That would be a tedious task, but compared to the library's information, it was a minor sacrifice. Tragically, the library was destroyed by fire. There are numerous hypotheses as to what happened to the library. The most accepted explanation is that Julius Caesar sent the fire that destroyed it. Yet there is speculation that the fire merely charred a few scrolls. It did not destroy the library. What happened to Alexandria's great library if this is true? Another argument is that the library was overshadowed as Rome and Athens flourished. I hope you enjoyed this video. You guys are truly amazing, and I appreciate every last one of you watching. I mean that, and I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Do subscribe to the channel, like the video, share your thoughts and questions in the comment section.